Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So basically today we are going to see a project in Python and basically that project will be made with the help of the tkinter module, right? Tkinter library. So the name for that project is age calculator, right? So today we are going to make a age calculator in which basically that will ask you to enter your date of birth, basically month of birth, and basically the year on which you were born, right? And it that will basically calculate you the output that okay your age is this much, like this much is your age right now. You are this much years, this much years old, this much months old, and this much days old. Let's say it will just show in the format that you are 19 years 19 years 3 months 21 days old, right? It will give you the whole information about your age in the term of year and in the term of month and in the term of day also, right? That yeah, day also, right? So this is the whole idea that we are going to make today in this basically project that we are just going to make, and the name for that one is age calculator. Fine, so let's begin with the things right now, and I would just explain you the further things within the project itself, okay? Right, so here I am on my Sublime Text Editor and I'm just writing my project here, fine? So as I mentioned that the first module that we'll be using is the tkinter, and I just tell that in the very starting, right? So for that, basically what I would just do, I would just like from my tkinter module, I will import everything, right? And yes, we all know that what's the procedure, right? You have been seeing my videos since a long time. So since a long time, I just told you about the tkinter module, right? We had been many projects. So the procedure is same. I'll be writing here from tkinter import import asterisk, right? So this means that from my tkinter library I am importing everything, okay? This asterisk, that is a star, it actually means that whatever is in my tkinter library I'm just importing everything here, right? So that is the very first step. And second one, that from my date time module I would just import the date function, right? So for that I would just write here from date time import date. Okay, so from my date time module, I would just import date here. Right, so these are the two modules which I would be using. The first one is the tkinter, tkinter, and the second one is the date time. Now, what next I would just do here? I would just give a geometry to my window or to my canvas that I will be making. Right, so root is equal to tk, and I would just put the bracket here. Fine, so here I'm just creating my window. Right, now basically what title should be there at for my window? Right, so in that case, basically I'll be using root dot and title is my function that I would be using. Right, and in the bracket I'll be giving my title, and let's say that title would be age calculate, right? Because this is what we are making today, right? So age here, it will be calculator, right? So this is basically, I just gave the title for my window that I had just made. So the title one is age calculator. Right. Now, next thing that comes here is that I need to give the geometry. Geometry means that what should be the height and what should the width of my window that I am making, right? I have given the title that there should be title. That is okay. Now the thing comes about the root basically that what should be the length and what should be width. Okay, so in that case, I'm just using the function that is geometry. Okay, so root dot geometry, and in the bracket, I would be just giving a proper geometry that is 400 plus 200. Now, I always tell in my videos about this thing, and right today also I'm just going to tell you that thing. Now, please just listen to me very carefully. This is a place where many of the students make mistake. Right here between 400 and 300, I haven't put the asterisk sign. Okay, I have put the symbol, the character that is X. Right, I always tell these things in my videos because this is a very starting point where a student can make a mistake. Right, so in that case, basically just make sure not to put that asterisk sign. It's not that multiplication sign, okay? It's the character, the alphabet which is present in your keyboard, that is X, small x, okay? Keep that thing in mind. Right, so now that is done here. Now what I would be just taking here is that I'll be taking the current date. Current date means the date of today, right? Because of from today's date only I'll be calculating that what is my present age right now, right? So from I would be needing that today date also, because in that format it will be coming that you are, let's say, 25 years old, 25 years and let's say 8 months and 21 days old. Like in this format it should be coming. So for that I will be needing the today's date. Right, so that I'll be taking. So I'll be just taking a variable that is now underscore date. Okay, and in that case, I'll be writing this and date dot, and here I'd be using today, right? And I would put the bracket. So basically what it will just do, it will give me the date of today, right? Whatever the date is today, it will give me that thing. Basically it will store that today's date in this variable, that is now underscore date, and I'll be using that further in the program. Fine. And what I'll be just doing is that I'll be just like converting it into the list. Okay, this date into the list. So for that I'll be just writing list underscore today. Okay, let's say this is the variable which I just made, list underscore today, and here I'll be using now underscore date, and here dot is split. Okay, dot is split, and in bracket I'll put this sign. Right, so this is basically converting it into the list, right? So this is the basically thing which we have done till now. Right, now I will be making one function, and now that is the function which will be calculating the age for me, right? So I will be writing div, and let's say name for that function is age. Okay, and instead of age, let me write it as calculate age. Right, let's say calculate age is the function that we have made right now, and I'll just make the C as small, and let's say we'll make this A as capital. Right, now it's look more nicer. Right, so calculate is age is the function that will calculate the age for me. So the whole program, the main part of the program is in this function only. Right, so just like now, please pay attention towards the whole code which I'm just gonna write now. Okay, right. So inside this, basically I would be just passing some parameters. So first one is user date, and second one is my user underscore month, and my third one is user underscore year. Right, so these are the like parameters which I have just passed here inside my diff, inside my calculate age function, that I'll be using here inside this. Okay, now what comes here is that I will be making one variable as global, and that variable is today. Right, I just made one, yeah, this one today, global today. So basically I have just used this today here. Okay, this one, right? So I'm just making it as global here. Okay, just let me zoom in. Fine, this is visible, right? Right, so global today. Right, now what I would be doing here is that I would be making my user underscore date, user underscore, okay, just let me quickly write here, user underscore date, right? This is a parameter which I have just passed here. Now I would be declaring the variables inside this one. Okay, so user underscore date is equal to, now I would be taking it into the integer format, and basically I would be taking one more variable, that is entry underscore date and dot date. So basically what it will do, it will take the date for me, right? Let's say this, basically we are making a GUI calculator because we have used the tkinter module, right? So in that, basically some box would come in front of the name, and there you need to enter something, right? So in that case, basically this thing is helping, right? So I'll be doing the same thing for my month also, and for my year also, right? So user underscore month is equal to int, and here it would be entry, let's say it would be entry month. Okay, entry month, and again I would just use that get function, right? And the same for my year also. So user underscore year is equal to int, and in the bracket I would just write as entry underscore year dot, and here I would just use my get function, right? So this I have just done till now. Now basically what I am just going to do is that I am going to give some more things here. Fine, right? So basically I am going to make one more variable now, that would be enter underscore date. Okay, so just don't be confused between this entry and this enter. This one is enter and this one was entry, right? So enter underscore date is equal to, right? Now here basically I would be using my integer, and with that I'm just using list underscore and my today variable which I have just made as global, right? And in the box I'll be just passing as 2. Right, I'll be just doing the same thing for my month also. So enter underscore month is equal to integer. I would just make the list, so list underscore today, right? The same one. And here in the bracket, I would be passing as 1. And at last, you will be guessing the right. So that would be basically enter underscore year is equal to int. And in the bracket, I would be passing list underscore today, and in bracket it would be 0, right? So in that case, basically the first the date would be taken, then the month would be taken, and then the year would be taken, right? This is done. Now what I just need to do here is that I need to define the months here, right? So in that case, basically what I am going to do here is that I am going to write the number of days a month has, right? So in that, basically that I'll store in a list. Now why I am just doing that thing, because if the, like, let's say date, month and year, right? So in that case, let's say user has entered the month, that is February, that is of, let's say, 28, right? And in that case, basically if the user is entering the date as 30 or 30, so for that, for like for that restrictions, I am just making here as month. Month is one of the variable which I have just made, and inside this I will be storing that January is having this much of days, okay, February is having this much, March is having this one, then followed by April, May, June, like this, right? So basically I would not be defining the name of the month, I would simply write the date, okay, total days. So let's say January is having 31, right? Then 28, then basically we have 31, then 30, okay, then again 31, then again 30, again 31, then again we have 31, then we have basically here 30, right? Then we have 31, then we have 30, and at last we have 31, right? So let me just count: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Okay, I have written all the 12 ones, right? So basically here I have just written all the days, okay, total days, which the months which we are like using in the program, the total days that months are having, right? So this is for January, February, March, April till December. That is okay, that is okay. Right, now I would just like put some several conditions here, okay? So I would just put some conditions here. Right now, just have a look here. I would just write if. Now in the bracket I would just write if user underscore date, okay, if the date entered by the user, right? Now just have a look over the variables. User date, this one, okay, if user date is greater than the enter underscore date, fine. If the date which is being in like entered by the user, okay, is greater than the enter date, then what to do, right? Then just come down here. Right, now in this case, basically what to do, in this case, in enter underscore month is equal to enter underscore month plus 1, right? Enter underscore month is equal to enter underscore month plus 1, right? So that will basically add out the months for, sorry, not plus, it would be minus here, minus the month, right? Fine, that is okay. Now what next I have here, so I would be again taking enter underscore date. Now in that case, month is over, now comes the turn for the date. So enter underscore date is equal to enter underscore date, and here I would be just using plus, okay, plus month. Month is the variable which we have used above that one, okay? And in the bracket I would be just writing user underscore month minus 1, right? So that is the case, that is the condition which I have just applied here. Now moving towards my second one, so again I will just put one of my if conditions here. Now if in the bracket, now my conditions are user underscore month. Now just come, let's go for the month. First we had done for the date, right? Now is the turn for doing it for the month. So user underscore month is greater than enter underscore month, right? Now basically here what I can just do, I would just do it for year and the month, right? So enter underscore year is equal to enter underscore year minus 1, fine. And okay, just let me do the tab space, right? That is okay. Okay, and now here I will be just doing enter underscore month is equal to enter underscore month plus 12, right? So that way I'm just applying some of my conditions this side, right? Nothing like much than that, fine. So I have just applied my some of the conditions here. Now I'm just applying some more here, fine. Now just come down here, and okay, here, right? So I have just used my two of the if conditions. Now basically here I'm just taking one variable, let's say that is date, and okay, I will just come down first. Yeah, date underscore result, okay, date underscore result is equal to, now here I'll be just using my str, and in the bracket I'm just writing enter date, okay, whatever is the enter date, subtract it from the user date, right? Subtract it from the user date, whatever is the date entered, subtracted by the user date for the date result. Now same for the month and same for the year, okay, month underscore result is equal to str. Now here enter, yes, enter month subtracted by the user month, right? User underscore month, right? So enter underscore month should be subtracted by the user underscore month, and same for the year also. Okay, right. So year underscore result, RESU result is equal to, and here I'll be taking str. So here whatever is the, it is enter underscore year. Okay, subtracted by user underscore year. Right. So this is the like thing that we will be following here. Now basically what I will be doing, okay, I need to just define one more variable here above also, and where is root is equal to root, and okay, global is equal to today. Right, here I just need to define one variable, and let's say I'll be just defining it as, let's say, global A. Okay, I would just define it as A. I would just tell you that why I am just doing so. Right. Okay, come here, come this side. Fine, now let's write here. So A is equal to, now here I'm just making one label. Now inside that label I'll be just passing the root. Okay, and what it takes that I just want to here write. So basically A would be storing my final result. Okay, so text is equal to, and now here I would just write you are. Okay, I would just put one backslash n. Okay, n should be small, right? Backslash n plus, now here I would be just using year underscore result. Fine, and I would be just like putting it inside the year underscore result, and then plus. Fine, right. Now just let me quickly come this side, year underscore result, and the same for the you are this much years old, right? So for that I would just putting here YEARS, you are this much years old. Then same thing for the month, right? So for that basically just let me quickly do this like this, and yeah, now it is absolutely fine, right? Plus is this side, right? Okay, now correct. Now again I would just put the plus sign, and here I would just write month underscore result. Okay, month underscore result, and I would just put the semicolons here also before this plus sign, and here I would be just writing in between this months. Okay, so MON. Okay, yeah, just 1 second. Right, just let me quickly come this side because it was not visible to me. MONTHS, right? Now that is okay, right? That you are this much months old. And now do the same thing for the day also, right? So I will just put the plus sign here, and here I will just write date underscore result. Fine, now date underscore result, and let me go this side so that it is visible. 1 second, right? So date plus result, I will just put the plus sign here also, and I would just put the semicolon so that I can just write here in between days, right? And now again I would just put one plus sign, and here I would be just adding as you are basically this much years old, OLD, right? Now this will be the whole format in which we are gonna get the output, right? And now I just want to make it a little bit fancy, that whatever in the box my output should come, that will look a little bit fancy. So for that basically I am just using one parameter here, and that parameter is actually border width. Okay, border width is equal to, let's say I just give my border width here as 5. Okay, border width is equal to 5, right? So here basically I just stored my whole result, and in that case I will be using a dot config. Okay, a dot config, and in bracket I would just like mentioning a font, that actually what font actually I just want here. Okay, so let's say in my case I will be taking simple font, that is Arial. Okay, you can just take any fancy font, whatever you just want, right? You can just take any one, right? So here Arial, and here I'm just giving the size as 16. Fine, and here I'm just using a dot grid, and in bracket I will be putting the rows. Okay, so row is equal to 5, and the value for the column also, so column is equal to 0, right? And we have basically one more parameter, that is column span. Okay, so column span, right? And that column span is equal to 3, right? So these are the things which I have just given here for making that look a little bit more nicer. Fine, that is okay. So a dot grid is done, config is done. Right, now come down. Right, now we are just gonna make one more function this side, and that function will be for, let's say here we'll be making two buttons. Okay, first button would be to show the result, that basically when you will just click on that button, it will show the result. And second one would be basically if you just want to clear whatever you have written, just clear that and again put some values in that, right? Now we are just going to make it for clear, okay? So I would just using div and clean, okay, because clear is one CLEAN, right? And here basically I would be just writing in, okay, not enter, it would be entry. Okay, entry is like one more new variable, new parameters which we're just passing here, okay? Entry underscore date, it would be entry underscore year, this one we had used above, right? And it would be entry, okay, okay, sorry, it would be first date and then it would be the month, right? And then it would be the year, entry underscore year, fine. So def clean, entry date, entry month and entry year. Right, now just come down here. And here basically we go. Right, now basically here what I am going to do is that I am going to mention some things here. Let's say the first one is I will be just taking as entry date here. Okay, entry date. Now I will be just using the function and that is delete. Okay, so I will be just writing 0 and delete till the end. So in that case basically I will be using this one that is end here. Fine. So I'll be just doing the same thing for the month also and for the year also. So okay, so end, okay, ent entry underscore month dot delete, okay, entry underscore month dot delete, and in that basically 0 comma it would be end, right? And the same thing for the year also. So here I'm just using entry underscore year dot delete, and in bracket it would be 0 comma end, right? So these are the things which I have just mentioned here: entry date, entry month and year, right? And I have just written 0 comma end. Fine. Now here I have just finished making all of my functions which I just wanted to make. Now what is left? Now it is the time for making the buttons and for making the boxes and for making the things, for giving the like names and all that things, right? Now basically we will be creating the widgets here. In technical term we just call it as widgets. Right, so let's start with the thing. So here I am just taking title underscore label. Now what should be the title of the like calculator which we are making, right? So in that case I'd be using my label function here, okay, label, right, and the bracket. So inside this firstly I'm just using my root, okay, then I'm just using my text. So text is equal to, now what text should I enter? So that would be age calculate, okay. Okay, let me write this one and I would just remove this between one. Right, each calculator is the one, and here basically what I would be doing is that I would again be using a border width. Okay, border, okay, that is border width, and that would be, let's say here I'd be just giving as 5. Okay, 5 is my border width. Come down. So now I'm just giving it a configuration that at what place we just need to write it. Okay, so title underscore label dot config, fine, and in the bracket I would be first mentioning the font, that actually want what font I just want. So I mentioned I was just taking the very simple one, that is Arial. Okay, let me quickly put the semi quotes, Arial, fine. You can just take any fancy font whatever you want for yourself, and that would be, let's say, of 28, right? The size should be 28, right? Now again the title underscore label. Now basically here I'm just gonna give the grid. Okay, grid means at what length and width they should be situated, what row and what column, right? So in that case basically the row should be 0, and what about the column? My column should also be 0 because I just want it at the very top, right? That is age calculator. So I'm just keeping my row and my column as 0 here. And what about my column span? So column span is basically one more parameter, and let's say that I'm just going to give here as 3, fine. Right, that is done. Now for the title it is done. Now the turn comes for doing it for the date. Okay, so I would just doing here as label under okay, date underscore label, date underscore label, label, right. Now that is done here. Just one thing I just need to check above, that haven't I just used that thing anywhere? Right, I haven't. Right, absolutely. Date underscore label. Now it is equal to, right, so for the things for the date, I was just first taking my label and putting the root here. Fine, now basically what text actually I just want here. So my text would be that you need to enter your date of birth, right? Basically the date. So in that case, I can just write, put the date. Okay, I would just simply put the date, right? Uh, I would just like write as date of birth, let's say. Okay, that would be fine, date of birth. Or I would just add date only, right? No need to put the birth and all that things. Fine. Date, right? And I would just put one space and give some colon here. Fine. And after that, I would just giving some border width. So my border width would be, let's say, I would be giving here as 5. Okay, let's say I would be just giving here as 4. Fine. Now what I'm just left with? I'm just left with my configuration. So date underscore label dot config. So I would just copying the same because I would be wanting the same, only the font size would be changing. Okay. So copy here, and instead of this title, I would be making it as date. Fine. So font would be Arial only, and I would be wanting it in the 15. Fine. That is okay. Right. Now what about my column one? So in that case, I would just writing date underscore label dot grid. Okay. And in the bracket, basically, I would just passing the row. So row is equal to 1. Okay. And what about my column? So my column is equal to 0. Right now, basically, I do not have any column span or some values right here. Right. So that date is also done. Now the time comes for the month. Okay. So I'm just making it for the month also. So for that, I'm just writing month underscore label. Right is equal to, I'm just taking as capital label here. In the bracket, I would pass as root. Now what text I basically want to add here? So text I want to just add here is that month. Okay. Month. Fine. I just put the colon. Right, and what basically I just want my border width. So border width is equal to. Now border width I would be just taking, let's say here as 5. Right, let's say border width is my 5, which I just took here. Right, and in that, other than that, what I would be just doing? I would be just putting the configuration, right? So month underscore label. Let me took it as label is dot config. Right, config, and basically I would just copying this one, because that would be same, and even I just want the things to be same here. Fine. So that font would be my Arial and my text would be of 15 size, right? And now moving towards that grid. So month underscore label dot grid. So here I will be just writing as grid. Fine. And in the bracket, basically I will be just passing my grid. So let's say my row is equal to, so for me my row will be 2. Okay. And my column would be 0. Column would be 0, row would be 2. Right. Same for the year. So year underscore label is equal to label, and in bracket it would be root. Okay, here I just need to put the text. See, here I just got one mistake. Right. So root comma, and here I'm just using that text is equal to, and what should be my text? My text would be year, right? And put the colon and give the space comma. Now what about my border width? So let's say my border width would be, let's say 9. Okay. Okay, just one second. I just need to say that right. Now basically I would be just using year underscore label dot config. Okay, dot config, and in the bracket I would just copying the same thing, right? This which we have used previously. Control C and for basically Control V. Right. And now basically I would be taking year underscore label dot grid. Now basically I'm just mentioning the grid here. Fine. Now the grid would be, only the row value will change, that will be up to 3, and the column would absolutely remain the same. Okay, so column would be 0. Right. So here basically we had just done all the things. We had just like made the ones here. Now basically I'm just gonna make it for entry date, entry month, and entry year. Fine. So here I'm just writing entry and underscore date is equal to. Now basically if I just want to enter something uh, into some box, right? So for that basically we just use the function that is entry, right? So for that I would be just using entry and root comma. What should be the width of the box? Okay, width. What should be the width? So width should be 20, right? And what about the border width? Okay, so that would be, let's say the border width which should be 4, right? So this is the thing that I want for everyone. So I've just copied it for here, and I would just paste it 2 times more here, and simply I would just change the entry. So instead of this date I would just take it as entry month, and here at last I would take it as year. Fine, that is done. Width would be same, and border width will also be same, right? That is done. Now basically about what about the grids, that at what position do I just want the grid to be made. I have just made it that I want to give some entry inside that box, right? For that I have just made the width also, I have set the border width also. Now basically at at what place do I want, what should be the row and column values, right? So I'm just going to define the row and column values. So first would be my entry underscore date dot grid, okay, and in the bracket my row would be 1, and in this case my column would be 2, right? So my row value will change, okay, and my column value will remain absolutely same in this case. So I would just again paste it for 2 times here, and instead of this date I would just mentioning here as month, right? And here I would just mentioning here as year. Fine, and I was changing the value for the row, so here it would be 2 and here it would be 3, right? That is done. Now I have just done the entry, I have just done the grid. Now I just want to get that entry into the box, right? I have just defined the position for the boxes also. Now I just want to get the entry. So for that basically I was just using my user underscore date variable which we had used above, and I was just writing here as entry entry underscore date. Okay, user underscore date is equal to entry underscore date, and here in the bracket I was just using my get function, right? So I would be just doing the same thing for the rest two which are just left here. So that one is the month and the year. So here basically I would just change as month, and for entry also I would just change here as month, right? And for here I would just change it as year, and for entry also I would just change it to year, right? That is done here. Now basically what is the last step that we just need to follow here is that now I would just calling my function. I was just making my like widgets, the buttons, right? So I was just making the buttons here. So just come down and just let me write here. So I was just using the word as, let's say, final. Okay, final is one of the variable which I have just made here, and for that I just want to make one button. Now what that button would actually contain, let me just quickly write and show you that thing. So that would be root, comma, now what text should be inside that button? So in that text basically I would just write, for the one I would just write like get age, okay, in that box get age should be written. And for the second one basically I would be just writing as clear, I would just like giving a command as clear, okay. So here let's say I would be just writing as okay, give age, okay, here I will just writing as give age, and this here, right? And what should be the width for that? So our width width should be, let's say, 10, right? And what should be the anchor? My anchor should be center, so that should basically be present in the center only, okay. So center would be in the capital CENTER, okay, right? And what command should be there in this? So my command should be here, I've just used my lambda function for a while, LAMBDA. Lambda would be my function that I am using, okay, lambda, right? Now inside that lambda basically I'm just first gonna give that function which we have just made, okay. So that one is, yeah, that one is calculate age, right? Calculate age is the function that we had given, and in the bracket I'm just passing all the parameters, that is user date, comma, and that would be user underscore month, and that would be user underscore year, right? These are the all the parameters which I have just passed. Now what color should be of the background color for that button, right? Let's say in my case I will be taking as red. Fine, you can just take any of choice, any choice of yours. And I'm just defining here as border width. So my border width would be, let's say, 4, right? So here I have just done that thing. Now basically it is the time for giving the grid. So I'm just writing final, final dot grid, okay, and in the bracket I will be just passing the row. So my row is, let's say, 4, and what should be my column value? My column value should be 0, right? That is done. Now what about the one more function, that is for the clear one? So for the clear basically we had made a function that was clear, okay, because I need to just pass that function here, right? So that is the case, right? So clear is the, okay, so CLEAR, clear underscore clear button, right? So clear button is equal to, and here I'll be just using my button parameter, and in the bracket I'll just passing the root, comma, here I am just giving a particular text. Now let's say that text is, in my case, let's say that is CLEAR. Okay, clear whatever is written there, just clear all that things. Fine. Now giving about the width, so okay, WID width. So width would be, let's say, 10. Now what command should we just give here? So the command I would be giving here is my function, and that function is basically my clean function, right? Clean function. And in the bracket I would be passing all the parameters. First one is the entry date, comma, second one is the entry this one entry month, and third one is the entry year. Fine, so these are all the three parameters which I will be passing, and even I will be just giving some background colors. So for me, I'm just giving the background color as green here, right? Green would be my background color. And what about my border width? So my border width would be, let's say, I would just giving it as 4. Same for the previous one, same as the above one, okay? And what about is left here? I would be just doing it as clear underscore button dot grid, okay? And I would just giving it as, let's say, row should be 4, okay? And now here basically column would change, and that would be going to 2. Fine. And at last I would be just simply closing my whole program, that is root on main loop, right? Now I would just saving it for a while here, okay? I would just save it for a while, and now I would just run it on the PowerShell window. Let's see that basically some errors are coming or everything is fine, right? So this is my window of PowerShell, and let me zoom in so that it is properly visible. Okay, just let me quickly check that what file name I have given. So file name I have given agecalculator.py. Okay, so here I was just writing Python age calculator. Okay, just let me quickly show you once that basically how to open this PowerShell. Okay, if you do not know. So go to the folder basically where you are having all your images, right? So all your programs of this Sublime Text, go to that folder. So for me it is Windows C, users, and then user, and here it is Sublime project, right? So this is the folder in which basically I have stored all of my projects here. Fine. So I would just using control, I would just giving it a shift and right click, and here I would just get one option, open PowerShell window here, right? So now basically it has been opened, right? So this is the procedure that you will be following. So I was just writing Python age calculator dot py, okay, and enter. Right. So basically, I just did not got any mistake here. My age calculator is ready. So have a look that basically it is age calculator. Here also it is giving me age calculator, then date, month and year. It is red button. Okay. Invalid literal with base 10. Okay. Let's see that basically what is happening. And it's clear also, right? Right. So let me just enter some date here. Let's say I just enter the date as 12. Right. Let's say my month is, let's say here 4. Okay. And let's say the year is 2000. Fine. And if I just click on this give age, what it is telling me, it is giving me that you are 21 years 0 months 12 days old, right? So it is giving me that basically you are 21 years 0 months and 12 days old, right? Let me just quickly rerun it for a while here. Okay, just let me quickly clean it first. Okay, just one more second. CLEAR, clear. Right, and now here it is the turn for the age calculator. Fine. Now let's say I just give it one more try. Let's say my date is 3. Right, let's say month is 4. Okay, and let's say the year is, let's say, 2006. Fine, and I would just click here on the give age. Right, so now what it is telling me that you are 15 years, 0 months, 21 days old. 0 months, why? Because I have used my month, that is 4 only. And this is all basically how we can just make a function, how we can just make a project for the age calculator. This is basically how you can just do that thing, right? So here I have just used my tkinter module and my date time module, and this is basically how you can just make one GUI project for you. You can add one much more better things here. You can just add some pictures, and even you can just make the size bigger. That all totally depends on you, right? I've just given you a proper idea that how you can just do that thing, right? So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.